Hello, I'm Olly and this is CriminOlly, where I talk about crime, pulp, horror, that kind of thing. Today I've got some book mail. So yes, no idea what's inside this. It came through the letterbox this morning, so I thought I would open it on camera and see what it is. So let's get into the packaging. It's definitely a book. I can feel that it's a book. Oh, looks like a Penguin classic. Okay, so it's a copy of Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, the classic novel. So interesting. It feels like there's something inside it. It feels like there's a bookmark or something inside it. Oh, that's weird. Some 3D glasses. I wonder why those are in there. I'm gonna put them on and see what happens. Oh, everything looks normal in here. Whoa! What's happening? Well, that's very weird. Anyway, I need to get ready for work. Oh, hey, morning, Venus. How are you? I wonder. Huh? And that was the start of GarbAugust 3D. So yes, regrettably, it's almost time for GarbAugust again. If you don't know what GarbAugust is, it's an annual reading event that I created a few years ago dedicated to reading trashy books. What do I mean by trashy books? Well, things like Breeding Ground by Sean Hudson, a very graphic and over-the-top horror novel. Things like TNT Kingdom of Death by Doug Masters. Things like Wasteworld 1 Aftermath by James Barton. Things like the book you saw in the intro there, Cherry Delight Hot Rocks, one of the Sexecutioner books. Or indeed something like The Librarian's Secret Scandal, which is in this Mills and Boon double. So the kind of books that are unashamedly commercial, that are designed to just attract readers, to satisfy our simpler reading instincts. So nothing too complicated, nothing too highbrow, just books that are fun to read. And we celebrate this year the third GarbAugust. So this year, as you may have been able to tell from the intro, is GarbAugust 3D. So 3D being the trashiest form of cinema, films that are just trying to cash in on the latest gimmick, which is a very, very trashy kind of thing. So in previous years, we've had two dimensions to GarbAugust. We've had the weekly prompts and we've had the bingo card. This year, we are adding a third dimension, and that third dimension is decades. So I will go through in this video the normal things you would expect in an announcement video. So I'll talk about who the hosts are for GarbAugust 3D. I'll talk about what the weekly prompts are. I'll talk about what's on the bingo card, and I'll talk about the decades as well. And there are two other additional things this year for GarbAugust. So the first one is on that bingo card, where traditionally you've had to read a book to fulfill the squares on the bingo card. Now you can also watch, or instead watch, a trashy movie. So we're opening up to the wonderful world of trashy cinema. So B movies, C movies, Z movies, whatever kind of trashy movie or made for TV extravaganza you want to include. So you can watch things to fulfill the bingo card this year. And we're also going to be branching out a bit more into Instagram. So we've got some weekly prompts for Instagram as well, for people who are passionate Instagrammers who maybe don't have BookTube channels but who want to do something a bit creative for GarbAugust. You'll be able to add pictures and use the GarbAugust 3D tag on Instagram as well. So without further ado, let me go through. Let's start with the hosts. And as always, all of the channels involved have trashy channel names for GarbAugust. So if you have children present, you may want to pause the video and usher them out of the room because it's going to get smutty. So apologies in advance for that. This is always my favourite part of GarbAugust, and I always losing it filming this part of the video. So we do have a couple of channels, sadly, who won't be joining us for this GarbAugust, who I think may be reading books and participating to an extent, but weren't able to be co-hosts this year, so we are very sorry to see them go. But we do also have 2 new channels joining us this year. So the 2 new channels joining us this year are Annie from Obscure Book Adventures, or Obscene Boob Adventures, as she is for GarbAugust, and Debbie from the channel Raynor Reads Stuff. Now, I hasten to add, Debbie came up with her trashy channel name herself. I had nothing to do with it. So Debbie's channel name for GarbAugust, instead of being Raynor Reads Stuff, will be Raynor Wants It Rough. Okay, so let me go through the rest of them. You will recognise many of these from previous years, no doubt. So I, for GarbAugust, will be Screaming CriminOlly. We're also joined by MJ from Reading This Life, or Sleazing This Life, as she is for GarbAugust. We have Nick from another BookTube channel, or another Buttplug Canal. Greg from another Bibliophile Reads, or another Boobiephile Reads Playboy for the articles. Crystal from Fiberartsy, or Fibertarty. Celeste from Bookbound Weirdo, or Bookbound Dildo. We have Gareth from Book Songs and Other Magic, or Boobs, Dogs and Other Magic. Kelsey from Slime and Slashers, or Slimy Splashers, as she is for GarbAugust. We have Roy from Roy Reads Anything, or for GarbAugust, Roy Reads Anything. We have we have Sarah from the Bookish Knitter, or the Bondage Knitter. Michelle from Michelle's Melancholia, or Michelle's Melons Cholia. Katrina Brown, or Kaboner Grown, as she is for GarbAugust. The next is probably my favourite. It's Alex Unabridged, or Al Licks Under a Bridge. We have Michael K. Vaughan, or Michael K. Porn, as he is for GarbAugust. Now, Michael is on a brief BookTube hiatus at the moment, but hopefully he'll be returning in time for GarbAugust. We have Dave and Olive from Book Blather, or Boob Lather. We have Kelly Hooked on Books, who during August is Kelly Hooked on Dino Smut. We have Alex from the Bookubus, who during August is the Boob Anus. And we have Anne from the channel Anne Novella, or Anne Pupella, as she is in August. And then last but by no means least, the inspiration for GarbAugust originally. So it was Steve who suggested to me in a comment that I should run a trashy BookTube event. So Steve Donahue, or as he is in August, Steve Donahue. So those, ladies and gentlemen, are your co-hosts for GarbAugust. They should all be putting up kind of announcement videos, some of which won't be going up at the same time as this, some of which will be coming up in the coming days. Some of the channels are also going to do kind of deep dives into particular kinds of trash, so do look out for those. So yes, those are your co-hosts. So let's talk about the weekly prompts then. And before I get into the detail of kind of the weekly prompts and the bingo card, etc., etc., the whole point of GarbAugust is just to read a fun, trashy book. You only have to read one book to say you've taken part in GarbAugust. The purpose of the weekly prompts and the bingo card and things like that is more just to guide people as to, what we consider to be trashy. And when we say trashy, we're not being dismissive. I love trashy books. I think they have a huge amount of value to offer all of us. I think they are fun to read, and they remind me about why I got into reading in the first place, why I enjoy reading. It's for fun. So that's the purpose of GarbAugust. So your weekly prompts then. So August, so the first week in August starts, so August the 1st starts on a Monday, if that makes sense. No, it doesn't. So the 1st of August is not a Monday. So the first week of August is a bit longer. So it's a 10 days for the first week. So I think August probably starts on a Thursday or something like that, or maybe a Friday. So anyway, 1st to 10th of August, which is week 1, is anything goes. So you can read anything trashy you want. Just get into the world of trash and just enjoy yourself. Week 2, which is the 11th to the 17th of August, is category romance or men's adventure. So by category romance, really we mean kind of Harlequin, Mills and Boon type stuff, such as that I showed you there. Men's adventure, we mean the kind of male equivalent of Harlequin. So the kind of books that are like the literary equivalent of an 80s action movie. So yes, Aftermath by James Barton definitely feels like it fits the bill for that. For the 18th to the 24th of August, week 3 is Sex and All Violence. So books that sell themselves on the fact that they contain explicit content, explicit sex, explicit violence. So that could be, you know, kind of shifter romances. It could be paperbacks from hell. You know, anything like that really. And then the final week, the 25th or the 31st of 25th to the 31st of August. So a novelisation. So a book that is based on a movie or a TV show. They're not nearly as common as they used to be, but you can still find them. For example, V. Castro did novelisations for what was it called? I forgot what it's called now. That new Jack Snyder film that was on Netflix. I'm terrible. So yes, novelisations of movies or TV shows, or the opposite, so a book that was turned into a mini-series in the 70s or 80s. So there were loads of these kind of slightly trashy mini-series in the 70s and 80s based on kind of Jackie Collins books and things like that. So you could read a book that was turned into a 70s or 80s mini-series to take part in week 4. The bingo card then has a ton of stuff on it. I'm going to go through all of the things on here. I will probably do, before we start Garb August, a video with some kind of suggestions, but let me just go through the bingo card with you. So we've got 25 prompts on the bingo card, so it's a 5x5 square. As always, as we did last year, we have Pax Panic at the centre of our bingo card. So Pax was a host in the first year of Garb August and very sadly passed away. So she is our centre square, and to fulfil that centre square, you just have to read a trashy book with green on the cover. So very simple. So the other squares on the bingo card then are modern trash, so you know, trash published kind of this century basically. A host recommendation, so some of the hosts will be doing recommendations. We have a load of different host recommendations, so I'll probably do a video where I go through all of those before the start of Garb August. Trash in translation, and remember, all of these prompts can be fulfilled with movies or TV shows as well as with books, so completely up to you how you do it. So next one, trash in translation, so a trashy book or movie originally made in another language. A book or movie with nudity on the cover or poster. A book or movie that you wouldn't either read or watch on the bus. So we have 3D, so either a 3D movie, so a movie that was made in 3D, or a book with a step back cover. So those step back covers being the kind of cover that has like a cutout on it, so it's kind of pseudo 3D. Next up, so a few which kind of like themes that you might have in the book. So killer kids, cults, sexy vampires, vigilantes. I keep saying books, don't I? Books or movies. So a book or movie based on a moral panic. So, you know, like Satanism or something like that, like the Satanic Panic. A book or movie in a long-running series. So I'm a big fan of the Executioner series, which ran to over 400 books, but there are loads of movie series that have, you know, multiple entries. Police Academy would be a good example of that. A book or movie either written or directed under a pseudonym, so that the writer or director was too ashamed to put their real name on it. A book or movie with more than 2 guns on the cover. I'm definitely looking forward to finding a book or movie for that one. Next up, based on a video game, so a book or movie inspired by a video game. Next, we have Gang, so a book or movie that centres around kind of gang life. Next, a book or movie with an exclamation mark in the title. Next, we have a weirdly specific subgenre. So you do get that with both books and movies. They kind of dive into a particular niche. I remember last year for Garb August, I read a billionaire baby shifter romance. So combining multiple kind of smut subgenres. So shifter romance being a book where one of the parties in the couple changes into another creature. A billionaire, you know, obviously, you know, typically the male character is a billionaire, and a baby romance is one where the female character becomes pregnant as a part of the romance. Next up, kinky sex. So any book or movie that uses kinky sex as a kind of selling point. Next we have drugs. So book or movie revolving around drugs. Next we have ninjas. So I love ninja movies, and there are some ninja books out there as well. And then finally we have Giallo. So you may have taken part or be taking part in the Giallo July event hosted by Bert from Storytime and 2 of our Garb August co-hosts, Alex from the Bookubus and Kelsey from Slime and Slasher. So Giallo being either those kind of stylish 70s and 80s slasher movies that typically came out of Italy, or a kind of golden age mystery published under the Giallo line, so the Mondadori line in Italy of books with yellow covers. So they publish loads of books in translation, like things like Agatha Christie or Edgar Wallace would be a good pick for that. So that is your bingo card then, and as I said at the start, books or movies can be used to fulfill the bingo card. Right, so let's get on to the third dimension then. So the third dimension is decades. So the idea here is that previously, when we did the first GarbAugust, there was definitely a focus on reading older stuff. And a lot of the books I showed at the start are books from kind of the 70s and 80s. But trash continues, and there's certainly loads of trashy stuff on Kindle Unlimited. So the idea of the decades kind of prompt or dimension to GarbAugust this year, and this was suggested by Annie from Obscure Book Adventures, is that you read books from as many different decades as you can. So think of it as just another lens you can put onto your trashy reading, trying to cover off as many decades as you can. And certainly if you think like way back to like the Penny Dreadfuls in Victorian times, they were trashy. So there's always been, as long as there's been literature, there's been trash. So yeah, try and cover off as many decades as you can to cover off that third dimension. And then finally, we have the Instagram prompt. So if you are, a dedicated Instagrammer, you can post any books you are reading for GarbAugust, post them on Instagram with the GarbAugust 3D hashtag. But we also have 4 specific prompts for each of the 4 weeks. So 1st to the 10th of August, post your TBR stack, so the trashy books you're intending to read during GarbAugust. 11th to 17th, post a happy GarbAugust selfie, so a picture of you maybe with one of your trashy books. 18th to 24th of August, post your favourite trashy book or trashy author. And then 25th to 31st of August, your trashiest book covers. And you can do that just on one day, or you could do it, throughout the weeks. So yes, those are some Instagram prompts. Let's get GarbAugust trending on Instagram. I don't think that's going to happen, but it'll be fun to try anyway. So yes, hopefully you're as excited by the prospect of GarbAugust as I am. Kelsey from Simon Slashers has done some printables if people want to print out like the bingo card and things like that. So we will be sharing links to those in due course. So yeah, lots to look forward to. But as I said earlier, all you have to do to take part in GarbAugust is read at least one trashy book. If you're someone who normally reads kind of stuffy classics and pretentious modern literature, just try some trash. You'll definitely have a good time. So yeah, hopefully you'll take part. Do let me know in the comments if you're going to be taking part and what you think you might be reading. And as always, thanks very much for watching. Hope you're safe and well out there. Hope you're reading good stuff. And I'll speak to you again very soon. Cheerio.